Good morning, everyone. Snow is making its way into areas that have not seen very much of it this year, and that includes parts of West Virginia, Virginia, and perhaps even North Carolina. We will be discussing that today. In addition, the overall weather pattern is beginning to shift, which will bring more significant snowfall to the west, including places like Utah, where snow has been quite scarce this season. We are about to see some changes. I am confident that there is more snow on the way for many. That snowfall could also become quite heavy in parts of British Columbia and Alberta. There are definite signs that this snow could increase significantly across this portion of North America. It is remarkable how we are starting to build a substantial snowpack across parts of Canada and the northern United States. We will talk all about that today. Let's begin by looking at where the current advisories are located. This is something we have not yet seen this year. New winter weather advisories are now in effect for northern North Carolina and also for Virginia, including the city of Richmond. This does not, however, include the Tidewater region, down toward Hampton Roads, Norfolk, or over to Virginia Beach. This snow will remain to your west. On the southern edge of this system, even into areas around Richmond, there could be some mixing with freezing rain. However, winter weather advisories are posted here for a couple of inches of snow. This includes Lynchburg, the Hill City, back toward Roanoke, Blacksburg, and all the way down, though not quite to the Tri-Cities. Once you cross the central part of the mountains on the eastern side, that is where we anticipate the most significant snowfall. I would say it will be generally along and to the east of Interstate 77, though a little could slip to the west. Then, up into southern West Virginia, some of this snow will manage to push a bit farther to the north. I will show you the forecast models in just a moment, but again, the heaviest snow is expected. I believe it is important to watch the region right in here for some bands of snow that may try to develop as we move into this afternoon. It is not something you see every day, my friends, in Winston-Salem, over to Greensboro, and not quite to Raleigh, but Durham could see some wintry precipitation. The fact that we are seeing snowflakes is always noteworthy in the Tar Heel State, although it is not a major event for the mountains here. However, we do have winter weather advisories that extend to Asheville and all the way down to the South Carolina line. And once you travel up onto the Cumberland Plateau, up toward Cookeville and over to Crossville, some snow is possible here in central Tennessee. That is east of Nashville and west of Knoxville. If you are heading west on Interstate 40, you do go up in elevation there. Now, let's head west. There are some winter weather advisories for the snow that is falling at this moment from Tulsa to Oklahoma City and back to Amarillo. This snow is moving eastward. The system producing this snow is the same one that will be pushing snow farther east into the Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia region. Some lake effect snow is also still active. We have some winter weather advisories in those areas as well. There are even winter storm warnings posted up here near Sault Ste. Marie as we get that wind fetch coming off of Lake Superior. But let's look to the north and west. This is quite interesting to see. Significant winter storm watches are being issued across western Montana and Idaho. Some areas there could receive 2 to 3 feet of snow over the next week or so. It is also very interesting to see this. We have some heavy snow falling not just there, but also farther to the south along the Idaho-Montana border, right up near the national park. And in a place where we have not seen much snow this year, how about this? Winter storm watches are now out for the Wasatch Range, east of Salt Lake City, where heavy snow is expected in the mountains. Some locations could see a foot or more. Then, as you move into Colorado, snow is expected there as well. You will need to get up to a fairly high elevation before you encounter the snow if you are headed east on Interstate 40. So, the valley itself is not looking too bad, from Grand Junction up to Glenwood Springs. However, the mountains surrounding it and the mountainous regions here will begin to get that snow. And then, of course, if you are traveling on Interstate 70, you eventually climb an elevation up near Vail, and as you cross the Continental Divide, you will run into that snow, which could be heavy at times. This activity stretches north and south along all of these regions that typically receive snow. So, winter storm watches are now posted across this entire region. And after this, there's going to be a lot of snow. I believe it is time to discuss the details. Let me show you where this is all headed. This is the European model, showing that snow moving across the southern United States and into Texas today. We are talking about the panhandle of Texas and into Oklahoma. That activity will settle down as we head into this afternoon, and then not much will be happening as we get into the afternoon hours. Again, there could be a little bit of snow. The European model does not show much here in parts of the Cumberland Plateau, but some rain showers are likely across the south. A little bit of light snow is moving through parts of the prairies. This is a very weak system that will bring some light snow to cities like Winnipeg and eastward into Ontario. However, heavier snow is starting to increase across the west, particularly into Idaho and Montana. That snow could become quite heavy, and we are seeing that snow pick up here across Virginia. We will talk about that more in just a second. As this system drops to the east, that snow could start to become heavy. A cold Arctic air mass is dropping south, which is creating some upslope flow. This means the snow could be heavy, and then more Pacific moisture will intersect with that. So now we have a good convergence of the air here, which results in significant uplift, and I believe that means you are going to get precipitation. It is going to snow, and it is going to snow pretty hard too. That moisture drops into the Rockies and farther south into the Wasatch Range. We are also watching this Alberta Clipper. We are going to give these systems names this year, and we will call this one by its name. This particular system is coming from Alberta. It is dropping south. It is not a Saskatchewan Screamer or a Manitoba Mauler. This is an Alberta Clipper. It is going to drop that snow from South Dakota into Iowa and the southern parts of Minnesota. And it starts to weaken as it moves towards Chicago. I still think there is a chance for some snow here over the weekend in northern Illinois and northern Indiana. However, it seems to fall apart as it drops to the south. So, perhaps this is not the classic Clipper that drops all the way in and then curves either north and east. It really just seems to dissipate. Cold high pressure is building into the Great Lakes, and we are bringing a lot of moisture into the Pacific Northwest. Another Clipper system is dropping south. I would call this an Alberta Clipper as well. It is going to be a little bit farther to the north, putting that snow into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the southern parts of Ontario. We are going to get some snow here, and it is going to be cold too, with temperatures well below freezing. That system has a chance of bringing a little bit of snow into the northeast. It is a Clipper system, not a major storm. And behind it, another system is bringing more snow. We seem to be on repeat with this pattern. There's another one after that, and perhaps a change toward the middle of the month. This is where it gets quite interesting. Some of the models are showing huge variables with outcomes that are just all over the place. We will get into that later as we get closer. In fact, a long-range outlook will be coming out, most likely sometime over the next couple of days. So, please make sure you subscribe and come back if that interests you as we talk about what is left of the season and some of the long-range signals we are seeing. This is a look at the GFS model. Now, it is different. The GFS has, in my professional opinion, had some challenges with accuracy lately, but I am going to show it. It takes this Clipper, if you will, and does something here on the coast. It suggests we are going to get a little bit of coastal storm interaction here the first part of next week. I am certainly not going to stop looking at it, but it is something to keep an eye on. And that northwest flow continues. Let's talk about the snow, though, farther to the south and east. This is where, if you are tuning in today, you care about that snow that is increasing. Again, this is the NAM model. I do appreciate the NAM model when it comes to precipitation types. Some light snow is falling across parts of Kentucky today. That snow will start to get heavier here as it moves into Virginia and West Virginia. I believe that even though you may not be under advisories, you should watch this part of Kentucky, Virginia, and southern West Virginia for some snow. And then as that moves east, some of that snow banding could get rather heavy here in central Virginia. So we will see about that. Up towards Washington, D.C., it is going to be very, very difficult to get the snow up there. But there could be some snow that starts to pick up as we head into Friday morning. It could cause some problems, too, here. It does not take much snow. I have seen significant traffic incidents with just half an inch of snow that gets compacted at the right time, at the right temperature, and it might be falling at that crucial point in time, too. Then, this system moves east. Now, down into North Carolina, I think if you look in really closely here, especially for places like Greensboro and back to Winston-Salem, some of the precipitation may be starting off as a little bit of rain, maybe switching to freezing rain, and then possibly ending as some snow here. I am trying to pull up the map and get into North Carolina a little bit closer for you. There we go. So, right up towards Mount Airy, I think it is mostly snow. You have a pretty decent elevation change there, so I believe you are all snow up here into Virginia along the Blue Ridge. But once you get down into the Piedmont, right, so we are talking about Winston-Salem. With Greensboro right here, the NAM model has you starting off as rain. If you go just a little bit to the west of Winston-Salem, it is snow, over to maybe some mix, and then to rain. So it is a very tight gradient here. I think there is going to be a sharp cutoff potential across this area where there will be snow and then just rain, or barely anything at all. But once you get up into Virginia, that snow chance starts to increase, especially even along these counties here, along the North Carolina-Virginia line, there is a decent chance of that snow. And then as it moves into the Tidewater area, again, Virginia Beach here, Norfolk, Hampton Roads, look at this. The NAM model tries to turn Hampton Roads over to snow. Please do not let your guard down on this just yet. If you are watching from Williamsburg, along the peninsula, or in Richmond, I believe we are all snow. You go north of that, up to Charlottesville, it is all snow. And up into Washington, D.C., snow there as well. Into Maryland, though, the situation is that most of this precipitation will be just to your south. You can kind of see that on the map. But there will be a chance of some accumulating snow. It does not look like a lot. Washington, D.C. here, Baltimore here. Some of that precipitation is trying to creep up into Baltimore and then into Delaware and down the Delmarva Peninsula. Some snow. Even the eastern shore of Virginia could see some snow once you get a little bit farther north. And then into New Jersey, the extreme southern part, down into the southern part of New Jersey. We may see a little bit of snow trying to mix in there, but that system will be moving out as we head into Friday evening. Now, let's take a look at the wider view of the country. We have discussed the situation in the Mid-Atlantic, and now we see some more snow moving into the Great Lakes region with that next weather system, bringing some colder air with it, and that system will then move into Ontario. So, we are expecting a little more snow in that area as we go into Saturday. Regarding snow totals, the National Digital Forecast Database is showing some rather modest amounts. I do believe these numbers might be a bit on the low side, while some of the other weather models could be forecasting a little too much. However, we are still seeing a couple of inches forecast across Virginia. Up toward the Washington, D.C. area, the forecast is for just about half an inch of snow. I would keep a close eye on this area, particularly in Virginia, where we could see localized amounts of 2, 3, or even 4 inches of snow, as some data suggests that possibility. Meanwhile, a little bit of lighter snow is expected farther west across parts of Texas and Oklahoma today. Now, we are specifically talking about the panhandles of those states, not down toward Dallas. Looking eastward, this is the latest run from the European model. All right. Let's take a closer look at Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic region. As I mentioned, we saw those half-inch totals, and the European model is quite similar for the Washington, D.C. area, but it shows slightly higher amounts down toward Richmond. The model is indicating the potential for some heavier bands of snow to develop, so that is certainly something we will need to monitor. For those of you north in Virginia, near Winchester, and I see you in the live chat if you are just tuning in, please remember you can always rewind to catch up on anything you may have missed. Now, turning our attention to the west, the snow is expected to intensify in the Wasatch Mountains. That snow will also be present in the northern Rockies. Looking closely at the Wasatch Range, the snowfall could really become significant, with possibly more than a foot of snow, particularly at the higher elevations near the ski areas like Park City. As we move into Colorado, we are also expecting more than a foot of snow in the highest elevations. Farther north, that snow will be falling steadily across Idaho and Montana, and that snow is expected to become quite heavy over the next couple of days. Some areas, especially in the highest elevations of Utah and Montana, could see 2 to 3 feet, particularly above 6,000 feet. We have significant snowfall on the way for this part of the country over the next several days and into next week. The snow will also continue to fall across British Columbia and Alberta. Let's look at the forecast through Saturday. We may see a little snow falling out toward Edmonton and Calgary, but it will be far too warm for snow back toward Vancouver. However, up in the mountains, the snowfall is really going to intensify. I am talking about the Canadian Rockies and the coastal ranges of British Columbia. Now, let's look further ahead, because these potential totals are quite remarkable. This forecast extends out toward the 12th and 13th of the month. Take a look at this, 129 inches. These numbers are truly astounding. We are even seeing 194 inches showing up here in Washington's Cascade Mountains, with several feet of snow in the Canadian Rockies and the northern Rockies of the United States. And the snow will not be confined to the high country. It will extend from the Northwest Territories all the way into the prairies. I believe there is a great deal of snow on the way as this major pattern change takes hold. Let's zoom in for a closer look and time out some of this precipitation as we move across the country. Here is the snow that will be falling as we head into Friday and Saturday, which will begin to move eastward as our clipper system organizes. We will continue to see snow showers in the mountains of the west. There will be a bit of a break across Utah and Colorado, but more snow is headed for the Pacific Northwest. It will be too warm for snow in the cities of Portland and Seattle, but once you get up into the Cascade Mountains, the snow could become heavy as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. This also applies up into British Columbia and the Canadian Rockies, including areas like Banff and Lake Louise. Significant snow is expected in the mountains, but not as much down toward Calgary, which is downwind of the mountains. You can see how the activity is concentrated in the higher elevations. This pattern continues into Thursday and Friday, and that is when the weather becomes very active due to a strong onshore flow, bringing a great deal of moisture and a lot of snow. Now let's take a look at your temperatures for today, starting in the east. There goes our light rain and snow moving off to the east through Tennessee and Kentucky today. We will also see some light snow across the Dakotas, as well as into parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota, as another reinforcing shot of cold air begins to move in. Then, the heavier snow arrives on Saturday, starting to move eastward. That could bring some snow into Nebraska and South Dakota. It is uncertain if Pierre will see any, but there is certainly a chance. As this system slides to the east, it will begin to weaken somewhat. However, I do believe there will be some snow along the southern Minnesota and Iowa border, and perhaps into the Chicago area once again as we head into the weekend. After that system pushes east, another blast of cold air moves in, which could produce some lake-effect snow. This will be a situation worth watching closely. Notice the position of this high-pressure system. The European model is attempting to forecast a band of lake-effect snow for Chicago coming off of Lake Michigan. That remains to be seen. After that, we have another clipper system, and then another one right behind it. It will certainly be an active pattern. Now, look how cold it is today. These will be your high temperatures, barely reaching the single digits and teens. Your low temperatures tonight will be near or below zero. You can see the white shading on the map, which indicates those below zero temperatures. As we head into tomorrow, it may warm up just a little bit, with temperatures at least reaching the 20s in some areas. Texas will be a bit cool as well, with highs in the 60s. However, we will be back into the 70s across Texas and Louisiana as we head into Saturday, before another blast of cold air moves south. This next cold front will keep our temperatures down. And my goodness, it may get even colder as we move toward the Great Lakes region through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Further to the east, as we have discussed, there will be some snow showers in the northeast. There is that system moving through Virginia, West Virginia, and into the mid-Atlantic. Again, that system is not expected to move very far north into Pennsylvania, the rest of New Jersey, or New York. We will see more snow from that weak system moving through southern Ontario. There will also be a little bit of rain across the south, and that moisture is expected to linger over southern Georgia and Florida. Meanwhile, the next clipper system is approaching from the west. Now, here is another look at your temperatures. It is cold today. It will be cold again tonight across the northeast, with temperatures well below zero in the interior areas where there is fresh snow on the ground. It is certainly a cold pattern, but it is a wonderful start to the ski season across the northeast. You simply cannot argue with that. There is plenty of snow on the ground, and it is going to stick around, with highs on Friday barely reaching the teens. It will be quite cold in the Ohio Valley as well, with highs only in the 20s. We may see slightly warmer temperatures heading into Saturday and Sunday, particularly the farther south you are located. However, it will remain cold across the Ohio Valley, in cities like Columbus and Indianapolis. It will be chilly there, and please be prepared, as it is not going to warm up anytime soon. Another blast of cold air is on the way. Winter has certainly arrived. If there was ever any question, I know some of you may not be seeing the snow you had hoped for, but I do want to look back for a moment. When a forecast comes together as predicted, it is quite validating. We were talking about this cold air gripping the central, northern, and northeastern parts of the country as we headed into December. We began looking at this possibility around the 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th of November. It may have been even before that. We saw the signs of a sudden stratospheric warming event developing around Thanksgiving, and indeed, it happened. This cold air we are feeling now is the result. What is interesting is that another sudden stratospheric warming event is anticipated in the coming weeks. This could mean we get a temporary rebound in temperatures, but I believe there is more cold air like this on the way. Winter is truly just getting started. While the official astronomical start of winter is still a few weeks away, meteorological winter began on December 1st. And my goodness, it is starting off strong. This could be a sign of a challenging winter ahead. All right, that is all the information I have for you at this time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.